have
Family time! Just as Joshua told the people, and the Bible does record. As for me and my house, we choose to serve the Lord.
Hello and welcome back to another week of Family Time. It's good to see you again. We were so glad to see so many sent in pictures of yourselves with your activity pages. So we'd like to jump right in and show you those right now. Here they are. Those were wonderful. Now today we're going to talk about admitting. To admit something means to honestly tell others when you did something or maybe even need something, like some help. So to get started with our topic today, let's see if you can tell what the picture puzzle is. If you said a broken cup, then you got it. So now try to tell through the rest of this video, what would a broken cup have to do with our topic of admitting? Now, I wonder, does anybody know what time it is?
It's time to read our Bible verse.
That's right, it's time for our Bible verse. Our verse for today has the word transgressions in it. Now that's a very big word, but that word simply means going beyond what is okay, to do things that you know are not allowed. So now, let's look at Proverbs 28:13. It says, "He who covers his transgressions will not prosper." He who covers his transgressions will not prosper. Now, it's time for you and your family to read this verse together. We'll put it up on the screen. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Now, let's see. I'm supposed to set the table for dinner tonight, but I just can't remember. Is the spoon supposed to go on the left and the knife on the right? How's it supposed to go? Is the fork on the left or is it on the right? And then what about the cup? Oh, well, I admit I don't remember, and I admit that I need some help. So I'm going to go ask my wife how to do this. She'll know. Okay, I asked my wife how to set the table properly, and she was able to give me some good help. Come on over and I'll show you how to do it. It's very interesting. You start with the napkin, and you fold it in half, and you put it on the left of the plate. Then you take your fork and you put the fork on top of the napkin, just like that. Next, you take your knife. Now the knife has a dull part and a sharp part. You take the sharp part and you put the knife on the left side with the sharp part facing towards the fork. Then you take your spoon and you put that to the right of the knife. And then lastly, you have the cup. You put the cup right above the knife. And that is how you place the silverware, the cup, and the plate for a proper dinner. I'm so glad I admitted that I needed help. Admitting when you don't know how to do something, like how to place the cup in the right position on the table when you're setting the table, is one kind of admitting. But admitting when you do something wrong, well, that's another kind of admitting. Oh no, look, I broke the cup. Now, what do you think I should do? Should I try to hide it and pretend that I didn't do it? No. Admitting that you need help or that you did something wrong is not easy, but it's the right thing to do. In the Bible, there's a very famous story about a man named Jonah who took a boat to try to run away from God, from what God wanted him to do and from where God wanted him to go. But of course, you can never run away from God. God knew exactly where Jonah was. Because Jonah was not doing what he should, God sent a big storm to threaten to tear the boat apart and to sink it. So eventually, the other people on the boat asked Jonah if God had sent the storm because of him. Now, Jonah had a decision to make. What would he say? Would he say, "Oh no, it's not my fault all of this is happening. Don't blame me"? Or would he admit that all of this was his fault? Because Jonah knew God sent the storm against the boat because of him, he admitted it. And he told them to throw him overboard, which, when they eventually did, caused the whole sea to calm down. Oh, you should ask your parents to read the rest of the story of Jonah to you. It's very interesting. But our point today is that Jonah didn't blame anyone else for the storm. No, he knew it was his fault, and he admitted it. Though it may be difficult at first, when the answer of our mouth is to admit when we do something wrong, instead of trying to hide things and say we didn't do it, it makes us happy in the end. That's because a man, and even a child, has joy by the answer of his mouth.
A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. Not complaining but rejoicing by the answer of his mouth. I'm full of joy saying thank you, mother dear. I'm full of joy saying thank you, mother dear. I'm full of joy saying thank you, mother dear. It's a good word in its season. Thank you, mother dear.
A child has joy by the answer of his mouth.
A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. Not complaining but rejoicing by the answer of his mouth. We feel so happy when we're saying please pass pumpkin pie.
We feel so happy when we're saying, please pass pumpkin pie.
We feel so happy when we're saying please pass pumpkin pie. May I also have some whipped cream? Please pass pumpkin pie. A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. A child has joy by the answer of his mouth. Not
Complaining, rejoicing,
by the answer of his mouth.
Today, we're going to meet more members of our wonderful worldwide family. These ones live in Norway. So, are you ready to see what it's like there? Ready for takeoff? Here we go.
Hello, we are the Eider family.
We are living in
Kristiansand,
Norway.
We love to do things together as a family. For instance, going for a bicycle ride. In Norway, people often go hiking in the mountains or in the forest. The forest is almost like a big playground. It is fun playing on a swing. We can also cook and eat dinner in the forest. Food tastes good outdoors. On May 17 we had our National Day, when we wear our national costume. In the ocean we like to fish, but then we need a lot of patience. During the winter, almost all the children are skiing. That is fun. What do you like to do outdoors during the winter?
We should learn to admit, to confess when we do something wrong. Otherwise, if we don't, not only will our conscience not give us any rest, it's also possible that others could be blamed for something that we did. That would be terrible. And sometimes, if we don't know how to do something, we don't need to pretend that we're so strong or so smart that we don't need help. We can just admit that we can't do it on our own and ask others to help us. Because admitting when you need help or admitting when you do something wrong is not so easy to do sometimes. It's not really a sign of weakness at all, but of courage. It takes courage to admit when you're wrong or to admit that you need help. But when you do, it makes you and everyone else very happy. So now let's see how a little girl has learned to honestly admit to the things she should in her house.
At my house, sometimes when I used ink pens to color, I accidentally marked my shirt. When I do that, I always decide to admit it to my parents. Sometimes I need to lift things that are too heavy for me. When that happens, I admit that I need help. What are some of the things that you admit at your house?
Those were very practical examples, weren't they? I really enjoyed how brave she was to admit to those things and how she didn't try to hide them. Well, that's all for this week. Be sure to download the activity pages for today, Wednesday, and Friday, and take a picture of what you did to share with us for next week. So until next week, we'd like to thank you again for joining us for another wonderful Family Time.
As for me,